Moving the camera, this is when we're thinking, okay, he's not around. We see some SWAT officers start to get in their car, and that is the suspect's car that drives by the front of his apartment. There you see it again there. This is the car that since, what was it, 11 p.m. last night when Thornton police was holding a press conference, a nationwide manhunt that was lasting for 14 hours looking for that vehicle. And Elliott and I happened to see him drive past his apartment where there were 20, 30 SWAT team members at the scene. So the video gets a little grainy because at this point,
we're running for our life. We're trying to catch up.
Absolutely. We, of course, if you're familiar with TV news, we have cables running everywhere. He's got the big old camera. He's got a tripod. I'm trying to roll up the cable. Elliott's saying, no, forget about the cable. Leave it here. Let's go. Let's follow him. Let's see what happens. So this is for a short moment. During the morning shows, we went back and the anchors are taking over the coverage at this point. We're not on, but we did hop into, we happen to have one of our vehicles where you can go live from inside the vehicle. So here we are. If you go back a little bit, rewind, there we go. Rewind a little bit. This is us now inside. Oops. That was us again. Okay, so we got inside the vehicle and we are driving down the road following authorities. Certainly they are going much faster than we are. Elliott, of course, is going the speed limit, so we can't see them at this point, but we do pull up to this intersection here. And at that point, what were you thinking, Elliott?
I'm like, I don't know if we're at the right spot. I mean, we did start to hear some radio traffic that kind of led us to believe we were on the right track. We come across the hill, and lo and behold, there they are.
There they are. We got to that intersection, and it was, do we take a left here or a right? Elliott took a left, and within 2 blocks, we stumbled upon, you can see I'm breathing heavily here if you guys were watching this morning, and we posted this video, the raw feed, on our Facebook, so you guys can check it out. Breathing very heavily, obviously a very tense moment. The adrenaline is flowing for both Elliott and I, and we pull up onto the scene. We're probably just about to pull up here, and what we see is the red Mitsubishi that authorities have been looking for 14 hours, with about 18 cop cars and SWAT cars surrounding it, and the suspect on the ground being arrested. It was within minutes that they got from when we first saw the suspect drive past his apartment to when the cops were able to apprehend him on the scene. I'm going to fast forward this a little bit.
And they were only out of our sight for 5 minutes, so they had him in custody very, very quickly.
They did. And another thing we want to mention, it was 8 a.m. Federal and 72nd is where they ended up apprehending this suspect. And as you can imagine, so this is when we arrived on scene, and this is the camera from right in front of our news truck here. And I'm trying to move it to give the anchors a better look, because Elliott has already gotten out and kind of run over here to get a better look, because that Chevy Traverse is up in here. You can see the SWAT trucks and the police cars all surrounding him. So I'm trying to move this camera to give the viewers, you know, we were live on the air at this time, an idea of what we're seeing in front of us. Elliott has a camera with him, but that's not connected to our live capabilities. He just wanted to make sure he got the necessary shots. And Elliott did a fantastic job this morning getting all of that. So as we're there, you see me kind of running out, and I want to say, for everyone that's tweeted at me, careful, don't run out there. Thank you, I appreciate your concern, but you know, as a reporter's job, Elliott would say the same thing as a photojournalist. It's our job to tell you guys what happened, to tell the story. So we ran up there, you know, we felt safe. You know,
I mean, there's cops with guns everywhere. We're all right.
Yeah, we felt safe enough where we could do that. So we ran up. We ended up losing, if you were watching this morning, we lost the feed for a minute because my microphone that I had on wasn't the microphone in the truck, to go into detail a little bit. And then Elliott was working, and he did a fantastic job knowing, okay, we're here, we need to get this live. Explain what you did. You kind of went back to the truck.
So then I had to go back to the truck, grab a piece of equipment out, and throw it back on the camera, and away we went.
Essentially a piece of live equipment that allows us to go live, and then here we are back live on Fox 31 this morning. As the suspect was being apprehended, you can see that red Mitsubishi right there. All 4 doors were open. you know, we did, if you were watching along with us this morning, we heard a flashbang that you were much closer than I was. I was still in the truck.
Definitely caught my attention.
Yes, caught the attention. But, you know, officers did that because it was such a busy area and busy time that they wanted people to kind of clear out of the area. So they did that as a distraction for people to, you know, okay, maybe we should back up. While it, you know, may look like a bunch of cop cars and something cool is going down, they had some work to do. So they did that to clear, you know, the scene. So if you're watching along, I know many people were tweeting me, it sounded like a gunshot and you ran at it. Well, it was a flashbang, and that's what that was. If you're just now joining us here on this Facebook Live, Drew Engelbart here with photojournalist Elliott Trimble. Quite a morning that we had. The suspect, 47-year-old, let me get his name correct, Scott Ostrom, was arrested for shooting 3 people. He's accused of shooting 3 people at the Walmart last night. I'm sure many of you have heard of this story in Thornton. He was arrested today. Elliott and I spent some time out front of his apartment as SWAT teams and undercover police officers were canvassing the area, kind of staging that area, and we spent most of the morning there. And then as minutes after they opened up his apartment, went in and saw that he wasn't there, he comes driving by his apartment with 20, 30 SWAT team members, police officers there out front. So clearly they said, that's the red Mitsubishi we've been looking for 14 hours. They hopped on it quick. I said it all morning on the morning shows. The authorities did a fabulous job. We can't say that enough. They really did. And they hopped on it right away when that car came driving by.
All the agencies involved too.
All the agencies. There was a lot of agencies
Thornton,
involved.
Westminster,
absolutely.
and federal authorities as well.
All right, I want to go over some questions that you guys are sending in. Joe Dalkey, one of our web producers, is sending me these questions. He said, a lot of people are saying great job. Well, thank you. Elliott did a fantastic job this morning. Augustine said, if he was considered armed and dangerous, why was he apprehended so peacefully, specifically after committing this type of crime? That's a good question. I think the anchors asked me that as we were live this morning. And, you know, I don't have a definitive answer for that. There's no way for me to know what the suspect was thinking. But from being there and seeing what was going on, he pulled up. He was on 72nd, pulled up to a light on Federal, and there was a row of cars in front of him that were stopped at a red light. So he pulled up, stopped, probably looked in his rear view mirror and saw 2 big Bearcat SWAT trucks and 15 cop cars behind him. And at that point, there's not much that you can do at that point.
They didn't give him much time to react either. And they were up on him real quick.
You're right. When he came to a stop, those 4 doors were flung open, and they had him on the ground right away. Authorities did a great job. But that's a good question. I mean, he was considered armed and dangerous. It was a nationwide manhunt for 14 hours, and it did go down very peacefully in an area that was full of people. Elliott and I saw bystanders. There's a Walmart right there. There was a Boost Mobile, a bank. There was people standing on the sidewalk watching this happen, and nobody was injured. There wasn't a dent on a car on the street. I mean, it was just the perfect way that you could apprehend the suspect who was considered armed and dangerous. So, Augustine, great question. I think to answer your question, once again, I can't put myself in his mind, but he probably had no other way out. He was trapped. Ian Howard, did you leave your equipment? Well, I'll let Elliott explain.
Yeah, we left a big old reel of cable, a good 100 foot of it, and it was not there when we went back.
Yes, we once again, if you're just now joining us on this Facebook Live, we were across the street from the suspect's apartment. When the suspect drove by in his own vehicle with about 20 SWAT team members there, they followed him immediately. And of course, as journalists, we want to tell the story. We want to be there. So we said, I think if you guys are watching this morning, or if you, once again, you can see this video that we're playing here. We have it posted on our Facebook page, the raw video. You can hear me saying, Elliott, let's go, let's go, let's go. Elliott was the first one who actually noticed that it was that red car. I just saw the SWAT team officers hop in and peel out. It's seen out of a movie where you see the smoke coming out from under the tires. They peeled out. And so you can hear me saying, Elliott, let's go, let's go. I'm actually trying to roll up the spool of cable. It's 100 feet long. I mean, the cables stick, if you know anything about cables for cameras. And Elliott said, hey, just leave it. We got to go. We got a story to tell. So we left it. And after the morning show ended, we took a quick breath, and then we said, let's go back and get our cable. We pulled up into that parking lot across the street, and the cable wasn't there. I'll let you finish that
Luckily,
story.
there was a kind man that had picked it up for us, so
yeah, kind
we did get it back
and put it in the back of his van for safekeeping, right?
Not sure what you'd do with it anyway.
Our executive producer over there is going, another question. Sharon, are you done shaking yet? Sharon, I'd say no. It's probably because of all the coffee. And I will say I was up late last night because I was watching our fabulous team here at night covering the story. They did a tremendous job last night, and my eyes were glued to the television. So I probably didn't go to bed till midnight and got a phone call at 1:30 saying, hey, you got to come in. It's a big story. Are you done shaking?
I'm pretty much done for now.
He's good.
For now.
And Elliott,
but I see a lot of this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so.
Elliott, I mentioned if you're just now joining us, Facebook Live, Drew Engelbart here with Elliott Trimble. Great photojournalist that was out there with me today as we covered this suspect being apprehended on live television. We were there as SWAT team were breaking in his door. He wasn't home, but decided to drive by his apartment while they were kind of staking it out, and there was 20 to 30 law enforcement officers there. So we were there for it. We keep saying we were at the right place at the right time. You know, we were happy to bring it to you guys, but it's Elliott right here. He does a tremendous job with the scanners in the mornings. You know, he comes in at midnight and works throughout the night and just listens to those scanners. And we sat there for 3 hours together on a stakeout, and he was listening to the scanners, and I sometimes couldn't even understand what they're saying, and Elliott knew right away. Once again, if you're just now joining us, we started our morning really early here, and we have a bunch of resources and tools at the station. When we get a name of a suspect, we can look up addresses and license plate numbers, so we did that. Elliott, listening to the scanners, kept hearing this address over and over, the name of the street where the suspect apartment was. So we said, hey, we better go check this out. From about 5 to 7:30 a.m., nothing going on. I mean, just a couple undercover cars when we first got there, and then the SWAT team started to roll up. So we knew, you know, they were staging, I think is the term that they use for it. They were staging the area. You know, we were pretty certain that this was the apartment of the suspect. But once again, when they busted in the door, he wasn't there. He just happened to drive by shortly after they busted in the door, and he was going home to change clothes, not sure what he was doing, but SWAT team jumped all over it as soon as they saw that car drive by. 14-hour manhunt. And drove right in front of his apartment. Let's get back to a couple questions that you guys have coming in. A few people are asking if this was the only suspect. That is the information that we have right now. Thornton police are telling us that this is the only suspect, and he was arrested. Once again, 47-year-old Scott Ostrom. The shooting occurred last night at the Walmart in Thornton at about 6:30. Nationwide manhunt. There was a warrant out for his arrest. Nationwide warrant. Agencies throughout the country were sent his photo, sent a picture of his vehicle, his license plate number. And so this was a huge story, as most of you guys know, and we happened to be at the right place at the right time as it all was happening at once. Is this video still playing? So once again, this video is available for you guys on Facebook if you want to watch the raw feed. It was certainly an adrenaline rush for us both this morning. Now, another question from Alyssa. Thank you for that, Joe, but I'm not going to...